Hello, good evening. Welcome to DFS Coach Talk. I'm your host, Josh Davis, also known as Crash. Today is Saturday, November 16th, 2024, and I am here with my good buddy Doug, and we are here to talk about Week 11 in the NFL. Before we get started, I apologize, everyone, that we're running behind. I was actually putting together a treehouse for my wife and I for our cats. We bought a treehouse last night at Costco, and I was putting that thing together. So it's supposed to be 7 feet tall when I'm in it. So it's gonna be pretty massive. So I'm kind of just how big it is. But we got a kid in the background, Doug.
Yes, it's all definitely like a toddler in the background, doesn't it, Crash?
Yeah, yep. So how are you doing on this Saturday night?
Great. Busy, it is.
Yeah, for sure. This time
Yeah,
of year,
excited for tonight, though.
as busy as it gets, this time of year before Christmas and everything, and Thanksgiving coming up in about a week and a half. So if you're new to the channel, if you would give us a like and then hit the subscribe button. After you've done those two things, if you would hit the alarm bell, that will let you know when our newest podcast has gone live. If you're new to DFS Coach Talk, we would love to have you join us. You can send us a DM on X at DFS Coach Talk, or you can email me, jpdavis1982@gmail.com. We have a very positive, very family-friendly and encouraging Discord, and we would love to have you join us. We provide lineups for NFL, NBA, MLB, PGA, and anything else that we want to cover. Coach will cover Olympics. We have the Olympic basketball. So we cover a lot of sports, and we would love to have you join us. And if you are new, or this is your you're not new to the channel, but this is, you're not a member yet, we will be giving out a membership for a week's membership free during the podcast. So you definitely want to stick around if this is your first time watching us, or if you're not currently a member yet, we would love to have you get in our Discord. So with that being said, we are going to, because we're running behind and we got to post our NBA lineups here shortly, we're going to skip our game-by-game overview and get right into our top plays. My top play at quarterback this week is going to be Justin Herbert. On DraftKings, I do like Russell Wilson. He's only 5,900 over there. Baltimore has allowed the second most fantasy points to quarterbacks this year. They just gave up 36.7 to Joe Burrow when he had his monster game, last Thursday. And since Russ has been named the starting quarterback for Pittsburgh, he's had 6 touchdowns and 1 interception. So he's been playing pretty well. It's a good matchup. So I do like that price at 5,900 on DraftKings. On Fanduel and Yahoo, though, like I said, I like Justin Herbert, 200 on Fanduel and $20 on Yahoo. He had a pretty solid game against the Titans, who have, had the number 1 ranked pass defense most of the season. And Cincinnati has allowed the 5th most fantasy points to quarterbacks this year. In that same game where Joe Burrow went off, Lamar Jackson had 290 yards passing with 4 touchdowns for 32.9.
I don't think this.
So
what are you looking at?
Hey, Doug.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute her. Hang on a second.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you don't mind, if you can mute it, and then I'll finish what I'm saying, and then I'll let you talk. All right. So like I was saying, Lamar Jackson going up against Cincinnati last Thursday, he had 290 yards passing and 4 touchdowns for 32.9 fantasy points. So Cincinnati has allowed the 5th most fantasy points to quarterbacks this year. So I really like Justin Herbert. So Justin Herbert and Russell Wilson are going to be my top quarterbacks. Doug, who do you like at quarterback this week?
Well, I feel like both of those are a great call. Earlier in the week, Russell was 40% owned at DK. Just enjoy the chalk.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand it. I do, but I'm not going to play 40%.
Sure. Yeah.
Russell. Yeah.
So who are you looking at from a GPP standpoint?
Boy, not Sam Darnold. All right. No, the only guys you've not mentioned, I'm looking at Bo Nix.
Okay, yeah.
6,200. He's got 25th ranked pass defense he's going up against. And other guys that might, like I said, you covered it really well already. Rogers possibly.
Okay, against
He's a very favorable match. 27th ranked pass defense in Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
They have been really improving against the run. Indy's
Yeah,
really hard to run on. So that's best of all. So I don't mind a little bit of that, and that's mainly who I had on those quarterbacks.
okay.
The pay up. I don't like Jackson, Allen, or I don't like Jackson at
Mm-hmm.
all this week. Lamar,
Yeah.
Purdy, they're gonna run the ball probably,
Right.
and like yeah. So that basically covers it. But
Okay.
Jared Goff, no one's on Jared Goff. Winston, did you mention him?
I did not. I did not mention Jameis.
Winston's also a very good, strong place, 5,500, for example, on Fanduel, going
Against
up
the
against the
Saints, right?
14. Yep, who no longer
Yes,
has
that's a
their top
revenge
cover
game.
card.
That's a revenge game for him too.
Yeah, and I think Carr might play up more in that too.
Okay. Okay.
Don't be surprised.
Yeah, so now we'll move on to running back. I like Jahmyr Gibbs. He's 7,300 on DraftKings, 8,300 on FanDuel, $33 on Yahoo. The Jaguars have allowed the third most fantasy points to running backs this year. Aaron Jones had 88 yards against them last week, and Josh Jacobs had 127 with 2 touchdowns the week before. And it's Gibbs and Montgomery, the duo, so you never know which one of them is going to have the bigger game. But Gibbs has seen a few more carries lately than Montgomery, and he is more capable of, more likely, I should say, of having that explosive play between the two. So I do like Jahmyr Gibbs. And then the other running backs I like are Achane, and there's one other one that I don't have listed here on my notes for some reason, but there is another one that I like. Let me look at the games real quick. It'll refresh my memory.
McCaffrey or Taylor?
It's Kyron Williams, actually.
Williams.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it's a little bit of a tough matchup against the Patriots, but I do like him. And in season long, I will mention that I think if you have the opportunity to get Nick Chubb, I think he could have a decent game this week against the Saints. He's still not owned in a lot of leagues. So Nick Chubb, I mean, he's been a top 5 back in the league, obviously, before. So he has the high ceiling against the Saints for sure. So who's your top running back this week?
McCaffrey.
McCaffrey. Okay.
Yeah. Now point per value, probably look at ease. So in FanDuel, he's playing per value, even at 8,300. Don't like him. Achane, I mentioned him. And then I do like Jonathan Taylor a lot this week. The Jets' defense against the run has not been as good. It's been going downhill, not uphill this year.
Yeah.
And
I'll mention, it's funny you mentioned about the Colts run defense, because at the beginning of the year, they were awful. I mean, the Texans with Joe Mixon and Green Bay actually with Josh Jacobs ran all over, and Malik Willis, they ran all over the Colts. But then they got their defense, figured out, and they got those super fast linebackers. One of them literally named Speed. So
and they got the Pro Bowl defensive tackle in there, Simons.
And they got Buckner, right?
Yes.
Quinton Buckner, and then Quentin Buckner, and then they have Zaire Franklin. So they have some really good players against the run. So that's pretty remarkable how they've turned that around. But I do like Jonathan Taylor against the Jets run defense. Any value that you see on the slate this week?
Well, Nick Chubb at 6,200 on FanDuel against the 30th ranked New Orleans defense since week 4. So I love Chubb, and some guy named ESTMESB.
Name. I saw that. I actually picked him up in one of my deeper leagues. Estime, however you say
he's going to be getting carries and touches this week.
For Denver. Right?
So he's 4,500 on DraftKings and FanDuel. Like same price.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, cheap, and if he gets you 8-10 points.
Yeah. Definitely.
It helps a lot. Yep.
I like that call. All right, let's go to wide receiver. Calvin Ridley, you're not going to like this play. Calvin Ridley, 6,200 on DraftKings, 6,400 on Fanduel, $25 against on Yahoo against the Vikings. They have allowed the third most fantasy points to wide receivers. But the big thing is with DeAndre Hopkins traded to Kansas City, he's seen 32 targets in the last 3 games. He's averaged 100 yards in receiving over the last 3 games. And then I also like Pickens against the Ravens. Obviously, Jamar Chase had that monster game against them, and they have allowed the most fantasy points to wide receivers this year. I know that game was a big part of that, but they still had had trouble before that with wide receivers. So I like Pickens and Ridley, and then for value, I like Ricky Pearsall. He's 4,900 on DraftKings, 5,800 on FanDuel, and $20 on Yahoo. He got a season high 6 targets last week. He had 4 catches for 73 yards and a touchdown for 17.3 DraftKings points. And he really seems to be gaining the trust of Kyle Shanahan. So I think he's going to get more opportunities with Ayuk on IR out for the year, and just leaving with Jennings and Debo. And Debo is almost like a running back wide receiver hybrid. So Pearsall is a true wide receiver. I can see him getting quite a few targets in this game.
I'll make mine quick. Don't even give those stats at you. Cooper Kupp, I like over Puka this week in the slot.
Okay.
Wilson for the Jets, love him. Debo Samuel, a little bit of him, I'll be playing him. Mid-tier Shakir Ridley, like you said. And then DK Metcalf, Sutton, gets that porous run pass defense.
Yeah.
And then I got Myers on DK's under 6,000.
Okay.
Tillman's 5,300 on DraftKings. Love that play.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's coming off a lot of target, and Judy coming off 11 target game as well.
True.
And the pay down only had play these guys, but Booty's 3,500 on DraftKings, 4,900. 6 targets at each of his last 3 games. And that's
right.
Something you might want to choice.
So I guess Judy is kind of seeing he's been the benefactor of Cooper leaving, just like Ridley has been with Hopkins.
Yes, and Winston at quarterback.
Okay.
And then you've also got Elijah Moore, also is pretty cheap as well. He's 4,300 on DraftKings.
Oh wow, yeah.
That's another one. But I mean, if they pass the ball a lot, then those are going to be guys getting it besides tight end. So
yeah, for sure.
Speaking of tight end.
Yeah, tight end. So we've got some injuries, so it makes it pretty clear what the value is going to be. Brock Wright with Sam Laporta out, and Dawson Knox because Dalton Kincaid's out. So I think those two will be extremely chalky. Any pivot that you see that would be a good value tight end besides those two? Because like I said, they're going to be super chalky.
Well, you got Allen.
Okay, Davis Allen.
Yeah, another one, 2,500 on DraftKings.
Mm-hmm.
He falls in the end zone, he pays it off. Beasley versus Cincinnati, 23 against tight ends, 5,000 at FanDuel. I got Cleveland's tight end. I can't pronounce his name. But Joku, I like him. He's more of a pay up though.
Yeah,
he's my favorite pay up. And then Jonnu Smith, I do like this weekend.
Yeah, I like Jonnu Smith, man. He's been playing pretty well lately. Had a good game against the Rams.
3,800 at DraftKings.
3,800. That's a good price.
And then Hunter Henry's 3,900.
Okay, very good. I always play George Kittle against Seattle. He seems to have their number. He's super expensive on FanDuel though at 8,000. I like him at $28 on Yahoo. It's not too bad. 6,000 on DraftKings is not too bad. It is a little pricey, obviously, but I think you can double up at tight end this week with Wright or Knox, whichever one you prefer. I'm probably going to be leaning more with Wright, but we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. But Wright or Knox, either one. I think you can go with either one. Pair him up with Kittle. Kittle's had, some really nice games against Seattle. He had 5 catches for 58 yards and 2 touchdowns for 22.8 DraftKings points earlier this year. And he's averaged 22.4 DraftKings points in his last 5 games against them. He had one really down game, and outside of that, he's been like around the 20 to 25, fantasy points each game out of the last 5. So yeah, he's played really well against Seattle. Any other value? Well, no, you mentioned Jonnu Smith and Davis Allen. So let's go.
And Knox, Knox as well.
Yeah, and Knox. Yeah, with
the
Kincaid
Bills.
like
I'm not as
Chiefs,
high on him on FanDuel, but on DraftKings, yes.
The Chiefs have allowed what? I think it's the second most fantasy points to tight ends or something like that. It's pretty close.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they have a good secondary, so it is weird.
Yeah.
And their linebackers are, their defense is good in general. All right, so defense, I like obviously the Lions against Jacksonville. I think that's a no-brainer. I like the Dolphins against the Raiders, and I kind of actually like, and I know it's going to be contrarian, and I know you've mentioned a lot of Broncos plays, but I kind of like the Falcons at 2,500 on DraftKings. That's not the worst defense in the world, and you got Justin Simmons going back to Denver. He could make a big play. So he is playing, right? He's not hurt.
Don't know on that one.
Don't know. Let me check the Falcons report real quick. I don't think he's hurt. So that's going to be a revenge game for him going back to Denver. So that'd be interesting.
Sure.
So which defenses stand out to you this week?
Oh boy. Well, that game's interesting. I think the Raiders will get a couple sacks actually on the Falcons. And I think that they have absolutely no way of stopping the run. Right? I forgot to mention that earlier. I think the Falcons are running the ball right up the middle.
Yeah,
yep.
Falcons have terrible injury list. Oh my goodness. They've got they got Taquan Graham, they got James Smith-Williams, Antonio Hamilton, D. Alford, Troy Anderson, J.D. Bertrand. Those guys are all on defense, and they're all out.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah. So maybe that's why they're 2,500. I didn't realize they had that many guys on the injury report. So, we can probably scratch that.
That's awesome.
Defense. So
I don't mind the Packers defense this week. Bears are not looking very good right now.
Yeah.
But if you take a shot at dark tight end, Komet. It's another shot. But other defenses, if Rodgers doesn't have it, then I think they do have a decent game. If you want to go cheap, defense, just a punt. I'm trying to think who I had in mind here. I guess I got to find it again. Yeah, it's 2,500 too. Anyways, so I'll get back to it. But anyways,
okay.
In top defense, I'll like the Vikings.
Yeah, of course you do.
Yeah, well,
no, that's a good matchup.
The Jets,
a really good matchup.
I think Ridley will get 100 yards and no touchdown.
We had one of our best games defensively against the Titans, so I could definitely see the Vikings defense, the way they're so turnover opportunistic, So I could see a pick six. Will Levis is terrible. As bad as Sam Darnold, was at times against the Jaguars, that's a decent game for Will Levis. So
I could also remember. Yeah, I remember what I was going to say. Steelers 2,500 against the Baltimore.
Yeah, I know. I saw. I like that
because Tomlin's had their number for years.
Yeah,
so that's
it'll be a low scoring game most likely too. So I think that's a great call. Lock of the week, I'm taking the Lions over Jacksonville, and I am taking what did I have as my upset? I'm taking Seattle to cover the 6.5 point spread. That's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Chiefs over the Bills straight up.
Okay.
And I lock of the week. Oh, let me see what we got here.
Going to be Minnesota.
No.
No.
I'm like,
Okay.
they should win by 10 points.
Yeah.
Should. I know, but I got Green Bay.
Oh, that's your lock? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
They're horrible.
And
yeah, if Williams ever looks at the tight end, then they might have an offense. But until then, they're not going to win.
yeah, what'd you say was your upset? Oh, Kansas City's not favored?
No. Buffalo.
I don't know why everybody picks against the Chiefs, man. It's insane. They've won 15 games in a row in 3 of the last 5 Super Bowls.
Yeah,
But they
last I checked, the Browns were favored over New Orleans. I could see that.
Yeah.
I can see that, but
yeah, I could see that too. You had a great call last week. I wanted to mention that real quick, Doug. You mentioned that you liked Pittsburgh over Washington. I know it was a 1-point game, but that was a great call. So
close.
Mm-hmm.
Close. All right.
But you had it straight up, so you were good. You didn't you know. So all right, then we'll go to our prize picks plays. I like Jahmyr Gibbs more than 59.5 rushing yards. It is a goblin, so it's not going to pay out as much. And then Calvin Ridley more than 54.5 receiving yards. George Pickens more than 13.5 fantasy points. I think he gets about 60 yards and 4 or 5 catches and a touchdown. So I think he'll get right around 18 to 19. So with that being said, let me take a look at the chat real quick.
If you want a big upside, yeah,
Wemby is out, so that's an easy one. Thank you. Thank you for the layup there. All right, so let's go to our Two Brains lineup real quick and get out of here so we can post our NBA lineups.
All right, I'm gonna get out of my NBA lineup and go into my NFL lineup here. Yeah,
I'm gonna go kind of quick. So Knox or right at tight end? What do you think?
Let's go right.
Okay.
Open it up in there.
You want to go with Russ or who else do you want to go with at quarterback?
Let's go with Winston for fun.
Okay. I'm good with that. And do you want to go with Tillman?
How'd you know?
Because you're pairing him up with Winston. I'm taking Gibbs at running back. You go ahead and take whatever you want to take.
Really quick here. And I never take Winston, so this is definitely for fun.
Oh, I know. Because he's going to get you like 2 fantasy points or like 30. So that's
pretty interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to go with. We'll need to back up. Okay. I was going to go for a sneakier play than that. I'll go. Quentin Johnson at 6,000.
Okay. Yeah, he's been playing pretty
well.
So
today's been really bad against.
I'm gonna go with. I know we got. Should we go with Winston? Should we go with Winston, Chubb, and Tillman, or should we go with somebody besides Chubb? I think it's going to be a good play, especially at 6,200. But how do you feel about that?
I think that's something I wouldn't do.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking because we've already got receiver and quarterback. Let's go Jacobs.
Yeah, I like that. Like that a lot. He's rested.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really like that this week. Okay. Then we go receiver. I think the top receiver this week will be Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, I know you said that earlier. Okay. And I will take the Dolphins defense. And that leaves you with 6,900 for the flex.
This will take an hour. Just kidding, everybody.
Surely not for one guy.
No, not at all.
Actually, I'm going to leave Johnson. I was going to say I was going to put Johnston in the flex because it's a Sunday night game, but I'll leave Johnson at wide receiver, and you can put whoever you want at the flex.
I'll put Ridley in there.
Okay. So with that being said, let's put Ridley at wide receiver and Johnston at flex. That way we have him in the Sunday night game, just in case we need to make a move. So we got Jameis Winston, Jahmyr Gibbs, Josh Jacobs, Cedric Tillman, Calvin Ridley, Cooper Kupp, Brock Wright, Quentin Johnston, can't talk, and Miami Dolphins defense. And 500 left over, so we're good there. So that's going to help us in the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
All
Well,
right.
it gives us flexibility on the later games.
Yeah. If we need to make any moves, if there's any late scratches or anything, we can make some moves too. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it. I don't think we have any other questions. Again, if you missed our answer earlier, definitely play AD and not Wemby because Wemby's out tonight. So that's gonna make that easy. But yeah, we're gonna get to our NBA lineups. So hope everybody has enjoyed the show. We'll be back again next week, probably on Saturday again. So we hope you join us again as we look to crush it in NBA, NFL, DFS, and Prize Picks. Have a great night. Thanks.
Yep, hit the like button, everybody. Thank you.